So something new actually showed up on my doorstep the other day from 4Generations Organic Farms, and I'm really excited to talk to y'all about it in this video. You will probably never guess what it is. Hint, my shirt is a hint. Hey y'all, welcome back to Grains and Grit. My name is Felicia, and on this channel, I teach you all about real whole grains from a biblical perspective. I teach you how to be milling your own grains, the importance of whole grains, and more. So the other day, I received notification from UPS that something was coming from 4Generations Organic Farms, and I honestly was confused about what I was expecting because I have recently ordered from them, and I thought I received everything and thought, maybe I didn't. This is something that was left out of the order. But lo and behold, it was something new. And whenever I opened it up, there was a note in it from the lovely Miss Sarah with 4Generations Organic Farms telling me what this was and to give Bob, the owner, a call for any questions that I may have. And boy, did I have questions. I didn't even open the bucket. I just briefly looked at the other pieces of literature that they sent me and immediately called him. And thankfully, he answered the phone. Thank you, Bob, for doing that because you would have left me in suspense. Now, to back up a little bit before I tell you what it is, about a year and a half ago, I actually had the privilege of visiting 4Generations Organic Farms in Oklahoma, and I met with Bob and Sarah and the team there at 4Generations, and I fell in love with them as a business, as a farm. I have been exclusively using their hard red and hard white wheat berries for a while now, and I highly, highly recommend them. But back then, they were telling me about this new wheat that was coming out, and unfortunately, I completely forgot about it until this showed up on my doorstep. And what this new wheat actually is a purple wheat, which is absolutely astounding. And I'm going to get into all this later on, but basically it is pulling from a heritage strand. This isn't something that is really common, that we're really familiar with. And I'm just really excited that this is coming out on the market. Now, after I got off the phone with Bob and actually opened the bucket to see what this is, I then bounced into the room to share this with my husband, and he completely just pulls the rug out from under me because when I tell him, guess what I received from 4Generations, he said, oh, did you finally get that purple wheat that they mentioned to us a year and a half ago that I had completely forgotten about? But I at least can be excited to tell you, assuming that this is the first time you've heard about it, so I can be excited telling y'all about it. Okay, so now we're gonna get into details about this wheat. What is it? Where does it come from? Where can you get it? All of the things like that. So first of all, let's just go with the basics. What is this purple wheat? As you can see here, it is this beautiful, rich type color that we generally do not see with wheat. Usually you associate wheat with like a tannish, that's lighter brown type color. That's what we associate wheat is. So this is something completely new. Now, 4Generations Organic Farms, a little bit of their story is they actually partner up with Oklahoma State University, which is kind of close by, I would say within about 2 hours of where their farm is in Alva, Oklahoma. And they've been partnering up with them for several years now. We have OSU to thank for the Butler's Gold, which is one of my favorite hard red wheats out there, just very consistent, wonderful organic wheat berries that I get from 4Generations. And they also have other strands as well. And this is one of the strands that they have been working on. And so what this actually is it actually is cultivated from 3 different types of wheat. One of them is, and this is according to the papers that I was sent, one is Romania, the second is Smith's Gold, and the third is Big Country. So I asked Bob about this, and I was correct. These are just names of the wheat strands, just like we say, Butler's Gold for a hard red wheat variety. And they also have Skydance. Stardust is their hard white wheat variety. It's just the name of the wheat strand instead of this long, OSKRT01 type name. So it's a name that we can remember. And it's the Romania wheat that actually contains the wheat genes that give us this purple type color. And what is giving us that purplish color is actually the bran. It is the bran that is this color, otherwise known as the pericarp. And it's two different types of genes that are just expressed in this particular type of wheat. And from my brief research that I've done on Google, it basically comes from African varieties of wheat. And again, it's just not something that we here in the United States are familiar with, but they took these three wheats and they have been hybridizing them together to get this trait. And it's not just to make the wheat look a really cool color. It does have a purpose. And what this purple actually means is that it's actually very high in antioxidants, specifically one that I'm probably going to butcher, but it's called anthocyanin. Anthocyanin. I'm putting it up here on the screen. That is the trait, the antioxidant that is in this particular wheat. I think there's another one as well, but that is the main one. And this is the same type of antioxidant that we find in other fruits and vegetables, like many of our berries, grapes, eggplant. Think of anything with that purple, reddish type color. That is the antioxidant that we're seeing. That's why it's purple, because it's telling us that is what is in it. It's really high in antioxidants, which is really amazing because wheat, if you already know this, is not really known for being high in antioxidants. But with this trait coming through, it is roughly about, at least with the testing that they're doing right now, they still have further testing to do, but we're looking at about 3 times the level of antioxidants that normal whole grain wheat has, which is just really cool to know that we have a wheat that not only do we get the typical benefits of whole grain wheat, so long as you are getting the wheat berries themselves, milling them at home, not buying store-bought flour from the store. But if you're milling them at home, you're getting all the nutritional benefits, such as still those B vitamins and the fiber and the vitamin E. But now we also have these antioxidants that are going to be coming through in this particular wheat, which is super cool. Now, as far as what you can make with this wheat, the protein levels are basically the same as like a hard red and hard white wheat. So this is still going to be great wheat for your typical yeast breads. And then of course, using them for like muffins and pancakes. I'm really excited to try this out with the color that it comes out. I'm kind of wondering, like, can I try some sort of marbled type bread, or just getting, what is this loaf of bread going to look like, period. I haven't actually tried this wheat out yet because, again, I just got it and I immediately had to do some brief research so I can record this video for y'all. But that's what I'm kind of thinking. And also I'm kind of curious to see what flavor it produces as well. Again, we kind of know, for example, like our hard red wheats having more of that rich whole grain nutty type flavor. Hard whites are a bit more mild. Kamut has this wonderful type of flavor, as well as einkorn, those ancient grains. They each have their own type of flavor. So I'm really excited and curious to see what this is going to taste like as well. Thankfully that we do have a name for it, just like we have Skydance, Stardust, Butler's Gold, and 4 Generations Organic Farms actually had the privilege of naming the sweet variety, and they named it HEARTWELL, which I think is very appropriate because if you know anything about antioxidants, it's actually known for being very good for cardiovascular health, as well as just removing free radicals in your body, which keep your cells healthy, good for immune health, just many, many benefits of having a diet rich in antioxidants. So I think HEARTWELL is such a really cool name, and I think just goes really well with the other type of wheat varieties that they have to offer. Now, the good news and the bad news, and that is, where can you actually get this wheat? Because you see, I have a bucket here, and you're probably asking yourself, Felicia, how can I get some wheat berries? And at the time of this video, you can't. But good news is that 4 Generations, they do plan on having these wheat berries available for sale in July of 2026. So depending on when you're watching this video, they may be available, they may not. Now, some of y'all have actually reached out to me, and I've seen it myself. If your Facebook feed looks anything like mine, you may have already been shown advertisements from Barton Springs Mill in Texas for this flour, the HEARTWELL, the purple wheat flour. And right now they do offer it but only in flour format, and it's a very short supply. What Bob told me is that 4 Generations Organic Farms is the only farm that's growing HEARTWELL, but they are a provider, a supplier for Barton Springs Mill, and Barton Springs Mill purchased their stock of their organic HEARTWELL wheat berries. So that's why Barton Springs Mill has HEARTWELL for sale, but it's only in flour format. So it's already being ground. You cannot purchase the wheat berries right now, but 4 Generations Organic Farms does plan on having it available coming soon, relatively soon, in July of 2026. So we do just have to be very patient right now. So the next question people might have is this some sort of bizarre Frankenwheat? Because we hear purple wheat, and I think that might be something that some people, especially the anti-grain type people, might think. But all this is, y'all, as I mentioned earlier, is that the genes for this purple, for the brand being purple like this with these antioxidants, it's been there all along in our wheat. We've just lost it. And many thanks to 4 Generations Organic Farms partnering up with OSU to actually reclaim this and bring it back to where we can have this available here in the United States and hopefully in other places as well. But this is many thanks to 4 Generations Organic Farms. And another thing to consider is, as the name implies, they are an organic farm, and for them to be organic, they cannot have any sort of Frankenwheat or do any sort of like crazy chemicals, no glyphosate, nothing like that. They're actually use regenerative practices. So they're really taking care of their soil, making sure the soil is nice and healthy. So the wheat berries that they grow are nice and healthy as well. And the same applies to HEARTWELL. And another thing that I want to mention is, if you're still not convinced, just look at other grains. Think of other grains that we have that are so colorful. So I think the best example would actually be corn. Here in the United States, most people associate corn with either yellow or white. But there is so much more variety to corn that God gave us. We have red corn, we have blue corn, we have the yellow, and we have the white, and we have all of these different varieties and colors with corn. It's still corn, just certain ones have these traits that come out, because I think we serve an amazing God who really likes a very colorful creation and everything, not just being monotone. And same thing with rice. If you're familiar with wild rice, that's kind of a black rice, and rice can have a few different colors. And then of course, quinoa has different colors. You have white, you have red, you have the tannish, brownish type color. And then of course, all the beans that we have. I mean, we have red and white and brown and green and tons of variations in the beans. And it's no different than our wheat. But again, like I think with corn, people have just forgotten about it. We've forgotten about this huge variety that we do have. And so once again, that's why I'm just really excited that this is coming back. It's something new, it's something fresh. It is reclaiming something that has, in essence, been lost. And 4 Generations Organic Farms is leading the way, giving us this while also keeping it organic, keeping it under great growing conditions. And I'm just really, really excited about it, if you can't tell by how many times I'm saying how excited I am about this. So if you aren't already checking out 4 Generations Organic Farms, you really should. They are a great farm, great company. You're supporting great people over there. You can just go to grainsandgrit.com/4generations and actually use coupon code grainsandgrit for 10% off of your first order. And then be on the lookout. Trust me, I will announce it whenever it is available. But be on the lookout coming next summer, where we can now get these wheat berries for ourselves and really start experimenting. And I'm very interested in your thoughts, what you think you're going to make with this type of wheat berries. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. And furthermore, if you're actually wanting to learn more about 4 Generations Organic Farms, I did a video where I toured their farm and learned so much about them. You can check that video out here. And as always, I hope that y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.